I've been taking pictures with a new friend and talented model named Sarah, also known as Pray to Bay on Instagram. These are some of the photos from the 2 times we have worked together. My aperture is always at 1.4 f-stop, and I always use VSCO to edit the colors in the pictures as well as different features in Photoshop. This is the photo I'm choosing to edit for this video. It's actually a lot more simple of an edit than it appears to be. So originally the background photo is a picture I took probably around 5 years ago in Huntington Beach of a surfer on a wave. So I photoshopped the surfer out of the wave, and then I brought the image into Photoshop where I combined the 2 pictures and used Photoshop brushes, water brushes, to make the water look realistic around the rock. So this is the original picture, no editing whatsoever, her on the rock. The moment I first saw the rock, I immediately thought of the concept and knew exactly what I wanted to do. The first step is to go to Image, then Canvas Size, and turn the width and the height into a perfect square. Then I'm going to select my crop tool and using a perfect square to crop the image once again. And then I'm going to bring up the picture of the surfer on the wave, and what I want to do is Photoshop the surfer out by using the spot healing brush tool. And with the spot healing brush tool, you can just literally paint over the surfer and he will disappear from the entire picture. And I'll just show you a quick before and after of the surfer on the wave. Then I'm just going to bring the image on top of the main image we're building off of by just hitting Control Copy, then going to the main image, hitting Control Paste, then Command T. That allows me to transform the layer and stretch it out, make it larger, and that sort of thing. And I'm just going to place it where I think it looks best. I'm going to erase away using the paintbrush tool on layer number 1. And I'm able to do that because I created a layer mask on layer number 1 where I selected the little circle within the square that you see below layer 1 in the little drop down menu. So I have my paintbrush tool with black paint over white paint, which means we're erasing away on the layer. And I'm just going to paint back in as well, and that's when I hit X on my keyboard to bring up white paint over black paint, and that allows me to paint back in. So I'll just switch off between painting in, erasing away, painting in, erasing away, and I'll speed up this process a little bit so you're not just watching me do this all day, but it did take a good amount of time, probably a little less than an hour to do the entire composite, I would say. And once the composite is pretty much totally in place, the next step is to use my brush tool to select a water brush. So you can download water brushes, moon brushes, all sorts of brushes for free from the internet. Usually I get them from brusheasy.com. So just type in water brushes brush easy, it should pop up on Google, and you can download these brushes for free into your Photoshop program. And since I have a layer mask on layer number 1 on the ocean photo, I'm able to paint back in using these brushes in the shape of water. So brushes are really cool because it saves you a lot of time from drawing in all the individual design elements. With brushes, everything is already drawn in for you. So with just selecting the right brush and just the hit of a button, you have a perfectly drawn design element in front of you, in this case, water brushes. But I also use a lot of moon brushes, as I mentioned, and confetti brushes, bubble brushes. I'm sure there's pretty much brushes for everything that you can think of. And as you can see, parts of the composite aren't totally in place, so I'm just using the paintbrush tool and just going in there myself and just fixing the composite so that it looks perfectly blended and that I don't have issues later on. I'm using, I believe, a semi-hard brush and also a small brush because the smaller your brush is, the harder the edge is going to be. So I'm using that kind of brush and just painting away, and actually painting back in, not painting away, I should say, and just perfecting the entire thing. Right now I'm using the polygonal selection tool to create a selection within that little block of the leg that's showing through, and then I'm able to paint in with the paintbrush and just include the ocean in the entire picture. And this is a close-up view. I really have to zoom in a lot more as I'm editing. That's something I have to remember because I don't want to see mistakes later on, which does happen. But with this close-up view, you can really see the perfection of the brushes. And here's just a quick before and after of the composite. The last step is to add on the flying hair. So luckily I remembered, because sometimes I forget, to ask her to flip her hair so that I had flying hair pictures to use later on. So I'm just going to copy and paste that using a lasso selection tool onto the main image, flip it horizontally, then transform it, rotate it, and you hit Command T, remember, to transform a layer. And I'm just going to put that in place, and then I'm going to use my background eraser tool after I use the curves tool to darken the layer so the hair is a lot darker. I'm using the paintbrush tool just to erase away a little bit more, and then I'm going to use my background eraser tool, which allows me to erase away at the background of layer number 2 so that just the hair shows through and the background's totally gone, which was pretty easy to do because it was a white background. So with black hair against a white background, it's going to be really easy to use the background eraser tool and just erase away at that background. Unfortunately, my screen recording appears to have been interrupted, so I don't have the rest of the tutorial, but it's pretty much the same as the rest of my videos. Once a composite is in place, I bring the image into VSCO, edit the colors there, adjust the preset, then I bring it back into Photoshop where I use curves and selective color adjustment layers. I also use maybe 3 or 4 different brook shade and textures. And now enjoy some behind the scenes video of Sarah singing to the camera.
Hi, I'm Prada Bay. We're out here in nature, baby, diving deep. No, 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 you don't love me, this I know now.
I love it.